Welcome to another edition of Let's Play Ring of Honor 2015. We have arrived at the first episode of Ring of Honor television in the month of May, as the road to the anniversary show at the end of the month begins. As you can tell, I have two segments already booked on the show. First being Tadarius Thomas versus Jamin Olivencia. And if you don't know who Jamin Olivencia is, that's the point of segment number 2, because not only does Jamin introduce his clients, as you can see, Guard 1, Guard 2, and Welsh, but he also introduces himself, where he came from, and why he and his cronies are in Ring of Honor. But things boil over pretty quick. But because of matchmaker Nigel McGuinness at ringside, he gets in between before Jamin can talk too long and elaborate too much as the goals for his group in Ring of Honor and why exactly they are here, the Briscoes interfere in the conversation, interrupt the conversation, because anyone who is a fan of not just the Briscoes, but not just Ring of Honor, but the Briscoes, knows that Jay and Mark ain't one to talk, they're one to fight. And that is exactly what the Briscoes want tonight on ROH television. But because matchmaker Nigel McGuinness is at ringside, that isn't gonna happen. But I will say what will happen, and what will happen is you will see Jay Lethal in action later tonight, and you will also see the return of Bobby Fish. The return of Bobby Fish from his injury that he sustained a few months back, as Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly go up against the new tag team of Alabama Attitude in Corey Hollis and Mike Posey. Yes, that's right, Corey Hollis, the same guy who on more than one occasion appeared has appeared as an enhancement talent on NXT, and his independent tag team partner, former WWE referee turned wrestler Mike Posey. But now we move forward with the next segment on the show, and that is Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly running their mouth against Johnny Gargano and Alex Shelley. Why? Well, you'll have to wait until we're going through the show for the second time to find out exactly why. Now we move to the next segment, which is going to be sort of I don't want to say a monument, but it's sort of something similar to that. Because, think about it, you have a guy like him, a guy like Jay Lethal, a distraction, but I don't want to call it a distraction, but when you have a guy like Jay Lethal calling you out and criticizing you well, it's kind of hard to ignore it, isn't it? So, Jay Lethal will be going against the notorious 187 Homicide. And Jay Lethal will be victorious in his match against Homicide in the main event tonight. But things don't end there. And I'm not going to say another word until we get to this segment. About this segment until we get to this segment on the show. But we ain't going to get to the show just yet. Because it's time for a pre-show match. And this week's pre-show match sees two of the top high flyers in the company, two of the top I don't want to say young stars because Caprice Coleman isn't really that young, but two of the reasons why Ring of Honor is so unique in ACH and Caprice Coleman kick off the pre-show tonight as ACH gets the win over Caprice Coleman, with ACH, I guess you could say, trying to come back after being infrequently seen, and that's, what I played into about last week, and I will talk about later in the show. And now we move to the first match of the show, which is Jamin Olivencia in his debut in Ring of Honor against Tadarius Thomas. And Jamin Olivencia is victorious. Now we move to the next match, the next segment, which sees Jamin take the mic and introduce his group. He points to himself first and says, "My name is Jamin Olivencia." That's right, Olivencia. If you don't know who I am, well, boy, are you missing out, because I am the greatest wrestler in the history of Ohio Valley Wrestling. That's right. I am the longest reigning champion, world's champion in OVW history. This man next to me, though he might be wearing a mask, is also a legend of Ohio Valley and has participated worked in the big leagues for the company up in Connecticut. Welsh, I think you know where he's been, and I think you know his background. And the other man, well, I think you know where he's been too. Oh, if you haven't, he's been up in the big leagues too. And he's from Connecticut. We're here in Ring of Honor 2. And they're interrupted because Jay and Mark are not here to talk. They're here to fight. But before Jay and Mark can reach the ring, Nigel stops him. Nigel stops him and says, "It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Don't take the chance. It's not worth it." Because if you want them, then you got them next week on Ring of Honor TV. The main event, Welsh and Jamin Olivencia against Jay and Mark, the Briscoes. You want to talk about coming in and making an impact. 2 weeks in to his career, Olivencia not only sparks a feud with ROH legends, but is now, 2 weeks into his debut, since his debut, fighting in the main event of an ROH television broadcast next week against those same legends. And now we move to the next match, which sees the returning Red Dragon versus Alabama Attitude and Corey Hollis and Mike Posey. Not really too much to this match, other than the return of Red Dragon. And that's why, following the match, even though I thought it would get better than it did, still Gargano and still Fish and O'Reilly taunt Gargano and Shelley, saying that though they might be friends, they are Fish would say, "You might be the best of friends, but we are the most dominant tag team in Ring of Honor. We're so dominant that they had to vacate the titles because we couldn't lose them." Gargano, Shelley, you're first. Kingdom, you're next. The hit list for Red Dragon is now available and growing by the day because they want the ROH World Tag Team titles, but they have a little problem named Johnny Gargano that they have to take care of first. And next we move forward as it's time for Jay Lethal and Truth Martini. And Jay Lethal once again says, "I knew that Jay Briscoe was nothing more than a worthless champion, but I didn't know that Jay Briscoe was a coward. Jay, I'm putting out the challenge one more time. Face me at the anniversary show so I can save the Ring of Honor World title from you and become the ROH World TV Champion and the ROH World Champion. Save the titles. If you don't want to fight me, then at least let me save the title by taking it from you." But for Jay Lethal, to get to Jay Briscoe at the anniversary show, he has to beat Notorious 187 Homicide. And Jay Briscoe, in a surprisingly weak match in my opinion, defeats Homicide to retain his ROH World Television title in the main event tonight. But, surprise, 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 Daniels and Kazarian make their presence felt at the end of the show, unprovokingly attacking Homicide after his hard-fought match against Jay Lethal in the main event. So, the show ends tonight with questions. Why would the Addiction attack Homicide? What business do they have with Notorious 187? As the card for the anniversary show at the end of the month begins to take shape, questions are becoming clear and some of them need answers, like why did Jamie Olivencia and his group attack the Briscoes? Why did the Addiction attack Homicide? For all that and more, you gotta tune in next week. But for this week, as you see, we had an average show with a 50 rating and it increased our popularity in 5 regions. And looks like to take a page out of my other videos saying that my direction is clear and my direction is set. My direction is working. You bet. But my direction is what I think should happen. I want to know what you think should happen. So let me know in the comment section, what was your favorite part of the show? What was your least favorite part of the show? What do you think I could have did better? And also, who do you want to see come in to Ring of Honor? Either joining up with Jamin Olivencia, helping the Briscoes, you know, or just in general, just coming in and just joining the roster. Also, stay tuned because in my opinion, the future of Ring of Honor, this series is in doubt. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then take a look at the last video for Ring of Honor, as I'm going to put a link in the description. I'm going to put a link in the description below to that video. So please take a look if you don't know what I'm talking about. And also, if you like the video, don't forget to leave a like or subscribe to the channel for more content just like this that you can only find right here at Wrestling Express. Till next time, later.